Yeah, I think we got that energy back. So let's start with the next panel discussion. It's a panel discussion of invisible threats spotting data poisoning before it breaks your AI. Can I have Pragdish? So let me introduce Pragdish. He is a global security leader at GCC. Ashwini, Ashwini Sadi. She is a global board of director at OASP. Govindaraj, he is a BISO and a senior manager at 7-Eleven Global Solutions Center. So thank you, esteemed leaders, for joining this session and making it more interactive. I know it's a lunch break, so let's see how this session with the exciting thought process would make them to have a thought-provoking sessions. They will be speaking on invisible threats, spotting data poisoning before it breaks your AI. Over to you all.
Thank you. So I was not expecting this crowd. So just to start with a funny note. So this morning I had one of my office colleague. He did mention that the breakfast is really good. So I was thinking the lunch will also be good, and we won't have much crowd, but it's good. Thanks a lot. Okay. Thank you. So it's a pretty interesting topic to start with. Just to start, let us start with the basics of what does data poisoning mean, and then we'll start from there. So Ashwini, you'd like to just start with what is your perspective on what is data poisoning, and what's your thought about it?
So I have a lot of thoughts around it, right? So I think it's like one of these, I'm not sure if you saw my comment on the post related to this conference, like what's data poisoning, right? So it's similar, if we had to take like an everyday example of things that we do daily, the MC was talking about cooking, right? So let's take an example of we want to bake a cake. Right, there's sugar powder, there's eggs, then everything else that we need to bake a cake, but somebody just replaces the sugar powder with salt. You don't realize it, you just pick it up, go follow the instructions perfectly and bake that cake. Everything's done to the T, but you put that cake in the mouth and you know what the output looks like, right? So that is data poisoning in real life for me. And when we put that back into our systems and how data affects decisions on our, especially when it's everyday related systems, I think that's what data poisoning is for me.
And today, especially, not to talk, but the dal, which we had, I was thinking if someone tries to put a sack of rotten vegetables, ultimately the dal will look like dal, but the taste would got ruined, right?
Yeah.
So is it while eating, that's what's going on in my mind about data poisoning.
So maybe we actually made a viral post. We thought we would trend this topic just to promote this IB summit. So this is my take on data poisoning and overall AI. So for past few years, the air is buzzing with AI buzzwords. So this talk is going to be more fun, light-hearted. We try to engage into some thought-provoking discussions. Please take it in a light-hearted way because this topic is so sensitive and then bit on the darker side of AI. So we will keep it bit with fun. So in terms of data poisoning, so this is my take. So what if, imagine that you are chatting with a ChatGPT or Claude, or maybe with Gemini, and then if you are getting a response which is a lie, which you could easily see it. So that really breaks the trust in the AI system because every day in our personal lives and in corporate setup, we always now mostly dependent on what is the output that is being given by the ChatGPT, and then we blindly trust it. So there are certain blind spots which is behind the scenes. So we will make an attempt to pull off the curtain and then try to unreveal the blind spots within AI. So that is our attempt.
Yeah, talking about blind spots, right? Sorry. Yeah, so data poisoning is just one of the things. So anybody want to talk about anything else outside of data poisoning that's really a concern that you've heard of? Anybody here? It's not a panel discussion. Yes, go ahead, please. Right, yeah. One way of poisoning data and the integrity of it has been tampered with, yeah.
So just on a similar terms, I too had the same thought process. So for example, the neural networks, LLMs, and the other models, right? Like all these things are very much dependent on the quality and integrity of data. So at the end of the day, it all undermines on how the data is. Based on that, only the model, the effectiveness of the model and the function of the model works. So it's all about data, right? And when all this data, and today's world, we consume all this data from internet, public repositories, government databases, also from third-party providers. So all this data, we are consuming them. Think about a case if all this data are corrupted and poison data are going into an system, and so that's how an attacker will think and try to inject a malicious data to ensure that the training data which is being used by the model is being basically played around with the malicious data. So what will happen is the end output would be completely attacker's outcome, right? So his main thought process is that if I can poison the data, ultimately the output would be completely poisoned, right? Yeah.
So maybe we will take a segue into what is the methods by which data poisoning can happen. Right now, maybe in the years, maybe past few years, we would have heard a lot about CI/CD pipelines. So everything as a code, we build the pipeline for CI/CD. Now, just because every organization is embracing AI and then we are adopting AI into the organizational strategies, and then we are trying to create AI as a partner in our strategic decisions as well. So now there is one concept which is emerging and which is adopted, this framework is adopted across the globe by many major organizations. Now the concept in the industry is called as AI data pipelines. So data being the fundamental element or foundational element for the AI pipeline. So data is getting ingested. So basically there are 4-5 process or maybe the pillars in which the AI data pipeline is created. One being the data ingestion, and then the pre-training or pre-processing, and then it gets fed into model, and then the model gives the output. So this is how the AI pipeline is getting generated. The reason why I'm explaining you this model is, if you see in all these pillars, the foundational element is data. So how are we validating that data? What is the data's origin? So if we take any LLM, either ChatGPT or any LLMs that we are using, it is all dependent on data. So where is the data fetched from? So basically data is fetched from the open internet. And then it is fed into the LLM models, ML engines, and then it gets given as an output for us. So how much, it again comes back to the integrity of data. So data poisoning is actually impacting the foundational element of data. So it starts before the pre-training phase in this AI pipeline. So that is why it is becoming important nowadays. So it is imperative that we also focus the elements in the AI pipeline.
And one more on why case. So, AI is everywhere, right? In today, we are everywhere seeing. On the other day, I was I was trying to go buy an air conditioner, and I was surprised that the salesman was telling that, we use AI. I was shocked. Air conditioner AI? Yes. So basically, I asked the salesperson, can you explain me? And he was, sir, it uses AI, that's all. And then I had to go into, into the website, company website, to understand like what is that is being used for. And then I understood that it is for, two purpose, cost saving, and it seems that it used to record and, do an automatic adjustment. And I was surprised. Okay, I'm not sure, but how it works. But I was surprised. So that's the, level of, AI has been adopted. Couple of areas where I could see is that we are being using Amazon. Yes, there are dynamic pricing changes during sales days, right? The second, yes, please. So you had hands. I'm sorry. Okay.
I think he wanted
okay.
the
So,
HD
yeah, okay. So Amazon is one place where, and again in Walmart or 7-Eleven stores, the way the products are being shelved in the store, everywhere AI plays. And another place, we know agriculture is the backbone of India. And today, most of the farmers are using the AI to, in the sensory way, to basically identify, detect all the, diseases, the crop diseases, as well as for the, vaccination and other sprays and all those things, and also the irrigation part as well. So, because of the AI, the way it is getting flourished, it is very important that, it's one of the reasons why we have to focus. And one more area which I want to highlight is, the data, right? It's pretty hard and, very difficult to detect the changes. For example, I do something I won't be able to learn today, but I would be only knowing after the decision, basically the business outcomes have come. For example, for example, I do an, automation or AI implementation in autonomous vehicle. I would only later know that, after accidents only, I would know that the data has been poisoned by an engineer who tried to do the, object detection. For example, all the autonomous vehicle have this, object detection mechanism. And in case if he tries to poison that particular data, so the car would not stop for a stop symbol and will try to hit a person, considering that as a, speed limit symbol kind of a thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I like how you guys explained, right? A technical example and practical examples. I would like to delve deeper into what are the different kinds of attacks itself, right? Within data poisoning, what are the different ways of doing that in terms of what are the categories of data poisoning, right? We'll take the example of the stop sign that he spoke about. The first one would be called as the clean labeling data poisoning attack. So what is it? So maybe you have a, let's say all of us want this AI-enabled car, right, which is autonomous, takes decisions on its own, and all of these things. So yeah, so it's fed in images like all these street signs and everything, and a stop sign is fed in as a stop sign, and it's labeled as such, and it's training data. But what happens is there are minor distortions within the stop sign itself, right, like a small square or pixel changes, etc., which amplify over a period of time, and that makes the decision, and a stop sign is not read as a stop sign anymore. And then the car, instead of just stopping there, just zips past through that place, right? So that is data poisoning one, clean labeling. So even if you just looked at it straight away, you will not identify this data as poisoned. But whereas the other option is like, yes, straightforward, simply flip data. So the label is flipped. Instead of stop, it is put there is no speed limit. So that's one of the ways of doing it. And what's the other way of getting this attack is having specific triggers, right? Specific triggers in training, in the sense that, okay, there is a stop sign, but it stops at hospitals, it stops at traffic signals, works perfectly well as it's trained. But what happens is just when there is a school or something, this word school is a trigger, and it triggers in such a way that there is no speed limit, and it does not stop at schools, and it just goes past, right? It means that if somebody is trying to cross the street, it autonomously goes and hits the school kid, right? So dangerous. So that's one of the ways. So clean labels, label flipping, targeted poisoning, or trigger words are some of the ways of getting data poisoning attacks. And the last one would be availability attacks, right? So you've trained this data set to be used in a particular model. But what if it is flooded with information on the streets, especially here when we're just coming through this place, right? We have so many shop names, we have graffiti on the wall. So instead of just road signs, what if it picked up all of that data? And that is fed into your training, right? So it becomes useless, it becomes unstable, and that gets into your car is completely unstable. What does it do? Stop at every graffiti sign, stop at every shop name? We don't know how it's going to react, right? So I would think these are the 4 different ways of how data poisoning can break your system itself. Yeah, so one of you. Yeah.
Maybe I can add on to this. I think there are so many buzzwords out there which are being created in every sectors or maybe domains within each AI ecosystem. Just to add on to that, there is one more attack which is prevalent as well, which is called as boiling frog attack. So we would have read the Eat the Frog books, but this is something which is a bit different from that. So basically what that really means is it is a kind of a low and slow attack. Maybe I will give you a general perspective perspective into it. Maybe if someone in this room might be a pen tester, so you might think like if you just go to Google and then type in top 10 pen testers in Bangalore, maybe India. So if you think in next 1 year, if you want to be the top one pen tester in Bangalore, it is achievable today. At least from a Google standpoint or from LinkedIn standpoint, any social media platform standpoint.
So I was not aware of it. So myself, I was not aware of it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I would like to meet you after this meeting. Yeah.
This is achievable. So I know every employee is perplexed with using Perplexity because we are always perplexed that when are we going to lose the job, right? So that is one side of it. And then from a founder standpoint, I could see some founders, I don't want to name them, there are founders in this room who are actually going towards a gold rush, or they are trying to capture the market or coming up with innovative solutions. So that there are three different perspectives, and then I will again circle back to the boiling frog example, which I thought of clarifying. So there are three different perspectives. So let's say if it is a founder who is innovating a company, and then if he want to list himself as the top founder in Bangalore or in India, that is quite possible. And then if from an employee standpoint, if you are a pen tester or a leader in cybersecurity and in specifically in AI space, that is still possible. So maybe I will quote an example. So if you go to, you can, maybe after this session, you can put it in Perplexity for top 10 people in certain domain, in your domain. And then you would see top 10 people in that particular domain. And then if you start challenging the Perplexity, so how can I be in the top 10 list? So obviously it will give you suggestions. You have to do this, you have to do that. And then once you challenge it, it will stop at a stage wherein this training data is trained until July 2024. So that is where it will stop, and then it will not let you be that top 10%. But let's say if you are making a conscious effort to follow that suggestions which has been described. So it would vary from different domain to domain. Let's say if you are able to match that constraints and the definitions it has given to for you to be in that top 10, at least by an year, if the data scraping algorithm of Perplexity scrapes or crawl and scrapes the internet, you will be listed among the top 10. So I'm just quoting an example how scraping the internet data is becoming the foundational and fundamental element of AI models. So is it true? It might not be true. You might not be the top 10 leaders or maybe the top 10 personality in that particular domain. So always we have to approach that with an bit of with a pinch of salt, just to ensure, are we consuming the right data? Is it navigating to the right results that we are expecting? So that is when this boiling frog attack becomes the prominent attack type in data poisoning. So it is very low and slow. There won't be any alarm. You will not see a massive change into it. But over a period of time, when you do that specific trigger, I quoted this example just to give you a bit of a common layman language of how this can be done. We will delve into the technical details of it as we start discussing that.
And just,
so knowing all of this background as to different minute ways as to which how data can be poisoned, how many of you here are willing to let AI be your wedding planner? Raise your hands. Nobody? No? Not even one? What in case if you're already married? Your kid's wedding. Okay, nobody. All right. So now segue to.
Yeah. So another just want to give an analogy about how trying to map all the types of attack into one particular. Let us imagine an Airport security system, right? So we'll first start with the data injection attack. That is one of the techniques in data poisoning. So what will happen is that, consider that the system or a threat actor had tried to inject a fake profile. So any particular threat actor going into the airport with his profile, he can easily get into that, right? He can pass a security system. The second type of attack would be the label flipping, right? The label flipping, in that case, what will happen is that the threat actor will try to reduce the high-risk passenger to a low-risk passenger. For example, he's having some sort of criminal background. So what he can play around with the data is that he can move his background from a high-risk a threat to a low-risk, and then basically with the algorithm. So what will happen out with the data? So what will happen is that when that particular person, threat actor, goes into an airport, the system will consider him as a low risk, and then he can easily pass on the system, right? And the third one comes on backdoor, correct? So the way he can poison the data is that, hey, any person, any threat actor who comes in with a specific kind of a hat, right? So I can just wear that hat and I can go through the security system, and security system will think that it's a sort of a backdoor. That means he's a good guy, he's all good, allow him. So that's one of the way of looking at the backdoor part of it. So these are the different ways if we can combine all the types of attack into single analogy. So this is one of the way. And personally, I've seen that most of you are using Netflix, right? And I was thinking about the data poisoning. So especially, my kids use this, there's a profile called as children, right? When you log in. So all the, and I was a little bit skeptical at the day one when I log into the children profile, all were, videos related to children. Just think about a case if someone plays around with that algorithm or the data, what will happen? So there is always a possibility that the children's profile will, we can start seeing other, content into the children's profile, right? So there is always possible using the data, poisoning part of it. Yeah.
So what do you guys think are good mitigations for data poisoning? I mean, same security principles would apply here. That's what we would assume, right? So anybody want to take a dig? Come on, things like watermarking, I'm sure all of you should be able to talk about it, right? Any data that is coming in from a trusted source. We know where it is coming in, who is providing it for us. There's a trust score associated with it. If it is low, we probably don't use it. If it meets a certain criteria, only then we use it for training. If not, we drop it. And also we are maintaining an audit trail. Where did it come from? Who used it in between? There's something of a supply chain, right? SBOM thing for your regular third-party components. Something similar for your data also and data models also. That's what you would do, audit trails and all of that. Yeah. Right, yeah.
And also just to add on that, the source of origin, right? There are lots of data sets available in the market. As I mentioned earlier, internet, there is public repository. There is also commercial vendors, like for example, Nexus, Thomson Reuters. And also there are a few other vendors in this space who are providing, the data, the paid data of it. From a free source, we have a lot of data source. For example, we have ICU, I think so it is ICU machine learning. Then we have Kaggle dataset. We have Google dataset. So all this, the portals or the platforms are giving free datasets. But again, there is always a possibility. They are not 100% secure. There is always possibility that someone can basically upload their own data into it. So even though we download free datasets, it's very important, as Ashwini mentioned, that we have to validate that image or the dataset before we start training our models.
Probably I will give a bit of an example from an organization standpoint, from a cybersecurity professional standpoint. I think we try to give you a very simplified, maybe someone who is an AI expert would have felt that these guys are oversimplifying the problem. We basically try to do it deliberately to keep it raw and pragmatic. So now we will get into the professional way of looking at it. So I hope many of the cyber professionals would be in this room. So I will take an example of phishing and then maybe any cybersecurity malware handling for that matter. So usually we are very much dependent on the threat intel data. So usually we get it from OSINT tools. Nowadays there are so much threat intel platforms which is feeding in the data to our SIM solutions or SOC solutions. We heavily rely on that intel data for any incident response kind of an activity, and we sometimes, if there is a critical incident, then we also go to IR response consulting service services as well. So imagine a situation wherein you got an IOA or an IOC, indicator of compromise, which is already poisoned from the source. So what will be your decision? Instead of doing that as a blacklisting, you will put it in a whitelisting. So now there are two concepts which are emerging in this field. One is ontology. So it is a medical term, but it is getting embraced in AI and in the unified SecOps model as well, which is basically kind of a vector way of looking into the data and its relation and its origins and the relationship. So previously we called it as relational database SQL for that matter. Now it is all, in the AI world, it is all vector based databases. So that is where it is becoming important, and then it is coming into our production environment without we being noticing it. So the knowledge of data poisoning is becoming very much important. At least we should be aware how what are all the mechanisms by which data can be poisoned, so that we can take precautionary measures into it. And from a tech standpoint, even in India, I have recently got an opportunity to witness there are good founders who are creating AI-based SPM solutions, which is AI-based security posture management. So previously, before a few years, it was all cloud, but now everything is AI. So there are some innovative products which are even being built in India. And even in the global space, SPM is one way of identifying data poisoning, and then it has inbuilt modules like data security and then labeling of data, and then having a visibility into data pipeline from beginning to the end. So that is a professional way or a technical way of challenging and then taking mitigations and measures. Maybe you can see it from an optimistic lens, pessimistic lens. We being cyber defenders always see something with a doubt. So there are some optimistic solutions which are being built.
Yeah, so I think these are not the only mitigations, right? We probably spoke about three. We always focus on defense in depth and security. So there are like 10 more things that we can do to make things better. So it's your homework to go back and probably take a look at it. And if you want special keywords on mitigations, take a look at neural cleanse and spectral signatures. I think that's going to help you answer how best to mitigate data poisoning. This was not to educate you, but just leave an open mind on terms of data poisoning. Yeah, so I guess that's all we had.
I thought you will be saying about OWASP, because OWASP has
I'm
listed
not
data
even wearing
poisoning.
OWASP t-shirt, so. All right then, yeah, I guess that's about it. So
Okay. So thank you so much, Pragdish, Ashwini, and Govindraj.
Just wanted to add on, thank you, the CAC team, for giving us the opportunity to talk about this topic. Thank you.
No, really, this was a very fantastic session, and just 2 minutes for felicity.
Is it because of the lunch, the claps are less? Can I hear it a little bit? Come on, guys, 30 minutes of talk.